Episode 3. The rambling continues again. Hi, once again. This is the third one I've made so far. Um, I did take some notes from my wife, and there is a structure for my ramblings on this episode right here. A few things I want to talk about. First and foremost, before I get even sidetracked, I haven't seen anybody else really talk about how it affects their relationship, and I haven't seen any guys say he just set the bar. I haven't seen any women saying, "Hey, listen, I need this for my man," that type of thing. And it's the speech Din Djarin had from the 2 or 3 episodes ago from the Mandalorian towards the end. They haven't even got down on Mandalore yet, inside Mandalore yet, and he's talking about like they don't care about Sword. Sword never mattered. They follow her because of her just everything. Like he just goes through that list, and you know what I'm talking about. Like this thing has been played 1,000 times on Facebook and Instagram, and TikTok videos have been made 1,000 different variations, and it's everything from our perspective except for admitting that he loves her. And I don't think he actually does love her. I think he respects her a healthy amount and is willing, and he does pledge himself to her cause because he knows that after everything's said and done, he knows that she's going to do what's best for everybody to the best of her abilities, and that speaks volumes to his clan and himself. But I haven't seen any videos yet. Like I said, for the guys like, oh man, I've got to step my game up for my significant other. I haven't seen the women do the same things. Like my guy needs to step up his game. If I've got this and all I'm getting is a flower, ugh. Like this guy's writing poetry without actually writing poetry. Um, that alone, that sets that bar super high. If I let my wife watch the episode, it's going to be a lot of us. Like I thought my bar was high already because I'm on my second wife and I love her to death, and like I try from my perspective, try really hard, and then I watch this episode and I'm like, me personally, I know I can do better now because I've seen that bar set high, and I'm like, I can get that because I love her. So realistically, I'm going to be working on my relationship with my wife, not my mom. I had to get that off because I was like, that's been bothering me for like, honestly, since I watched the episode last week because I was 4 weeks behind and when I caught up, and it's been on my mind for a solid 7 days at this point in time, and I've watched that episode on TikTok, and I get emotional for it, and I love it, and it just speaks volumes. Like, you know what, he's not wrong. I need to myself do more. So enough about that. Moving on. We were talking about this in my podcast we do with my buddies. We got YouTube videos. I'll actually link that in the show notes at the bottom. Talking about Piers and Anthony, the series of Incarnations of Immortality, and how it actually affected my DM style. Um, I didn't get to ramble on, but if you've read the books, they're a great series. I'll try and actually figure out how to post them from Amazon on there if I can find it. I'm not sure if I can or not. If you see it, awesome. If you don't, it is what it is. I'm sorry. You can look it up on Google and find it yourself. I have faith in your abilities. If you can find this video, there's not much you can't find. I mean, at this point in time, you should be able to find a lot more than just this video. um, but no, it's talk about how it's not really it is a plot point, but it's not even like trickery. It's just level upon level upon level upon level, and then level 6 connects to level 1, and without 6 you can't have the first step because you go through all the steps to be able to do the first one, but you can't do any of them until you do the first one. And I just, that series is like a 7-book series, has set up a lot of my own train of thoughts for my own world building for my own campaign with my wife and her friends. And when I was writing my notes for Town Guard, I was writing the stage out like, oh, you got to write, if you screw up, there's city guards, and if you defeat them, I was running it like a Fable, the Fable Xbox game where like more city guards and more city guards, and they get more and more powerful until either A, they're all dead, or B, you're dead. There's no in between. And I realized that was punishing my players. If they want to go murder hobo and screw around and do stuff they shouldn't do that will have lasting consequences to the realm or the city or the village or whatever the case may be, I need to incorporate that into the world. So, like, if they help the world, awesome. It'll help them later on, and they get this because they did that. And then if they destroy stuff and do stuff they're not supposed to, from my perspective, which is, you know, the good versus evil perspective, and since I'm the DM, I'm the one above all, kind of like the reference from the comics. Um, I feel like I don't need to punish them. They're going to punish themselves. So they're going to have where all their DC saves are low because they're, you know, level 2, level 3 characters. And as they get to higher levels, of course, the DC saves go higher with the shopkeepers and the, you know, harbor masters and the blacksmiths and whatnot, because these are bigger towns. They have a reputation. And I feel like if they have a good reputation, that number's going to stay lower. So it's like, oh yeah, I need a +3 sir. Oh, it's a DC 10 check because you've been a paragon of good your entire campaign. Like, you've gone out of your way, and like your name is known throughout the realms, and like they know that you're a good person. Okay, well, you're going to use this sword for good. Whereupon, you know, like you've literally eradicated whole villages because one person was corrupted by a demon. So just to make sure, you know, you eradicate the whole. Oh well, that +3 sword is actually a DC 25 save. Oh, you failed. Sorry, I can't do it. And they know what's going to come on. So now you have the other blacksmiths have stopped working, and they're all staring at you, waiting for your response of. At this point in time, it'll probably be Murder Hobo, because that's the game you've been playing for so long, and these are going to be your repercussions. Now you've got this level 20, you know, barbarian who became a blacksmith that you are going to threaten, because he's not going to say a +3 sword. You failed his DC 25 check. He hates you. Oh, well, you're going to take care of that level 20 barbarians? That's fine. The other 4, you know, blacksmiths are, you know, his other, you know, retired party, you know, the paladin that's working out, you know, for the church. All his stuff goes to the church. And, you know, there's the cleric that does the same thing for his church. Then there's the fighter who's just there for mending, you know, blah, 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 blah. So now you got this, you know, level 20 party of 4 that are going to fight your level 10 over a +3 sword, and you're not going to win this one easily if you do it all. And I feel like that leads back to the Piers Anthony series, where, you know, there's consequences for all your actions, and then there's of course there's benefits to all your actions, and you got to be careful on how you interact, because like real life, there's always a plus or a minus to anything you do. Hopefully we all lead towards the positive side, but sometimes our actions lead toward the negative side, and just like that, and D&D and Savage Worlds and, you know, the Travelers and so on and so forth, other games like that, should be lasting repercussions to your actions if it makes sense. So like, let's say I eradicate a small, you know, island village, very little contact with the world, and then I leave. How's that going to affect me, you know, 7,000 miles over there? It's not. Realistically, it's not. But if I attack and replace the monarch of one of the bigger kingdoms in the middle of the map with a puppet, and the puppet gets discovered and they all point fingers at me, okay, well, the kingdom next to it is like, I'm visiting, they're going to be like, we're going to keep an eye on you, sir. We don't need to be replaced. So I feel like that series has actually played a big part of mine, because I actually read them again after writing on my notes for the guard style. Because I realized, you know, throwing more and more fighters and city guards at a party is not going to fix their issue. It's just going to punish them, and like, there's going to be repercussions if they do stupid stuff. Obviously, I mean, you're going to have city guard that interact. You're going to have thieves guilds. You're going to have random, you know, city guilds of blah 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 blah, the blah 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 stuff that's going to interact with your players. Which goes off of the rest of that show that's going to be like in the notes. You know, there's Heroes playstyle, which is he's been playing, good God, since probably the time I was conceived or beforehand, early '80s right there. And he's progressed his stuff for so long. You know, we got Matt's own playstyle, and he realized that it was him versus the players, and he's gotten a heck of a lot better with his playstyle. And I've enjoyed any campaign that I've ever been in with him because I got him towards the tail end where he's actually realized this and has honestly been an amazing DM. Of course, there's Kevin's own playstyle too, and his playstyle is he's not out to kill you. It's not his job to kill you. It's the world's job to kill you. It's your job to survive as long as you can because you're not getting out of this alive. There's no way around this. That's all there is to it. And I do take bits and pieces from each one of their play styles to kind of incorporate into mine. Like, so the campaign I'm doing now, Hero introduce a. It's been on some video RPG games where like you're doing all this stuff, but then the plot's still going on with or without you. And then when you get over here to the plot, that's when you realize, oh crap, the plot's already like halfway done, and I can't do half the things I need to do to finish the plot. So now it's uphill all the way, and that's enjoyable for me. I enjoy that mentality right there. It's not really affecting the players so much yet because they're, like I said, level 3. It's not going to affect them at all, except their BBEG is literally a day ahead of them, and because he left the town a day ahead, so he's literally a day ahead of them. Like they know he's in the town, but he's a day ahead, so he's got some planning, he's got some resources, he's moving in the right direction for what he needs, and they don't even know what he's doing. So they got to do research, they got to find him, so many things they got to do, and they might be able to catch up to him, and they might be able to get a fight in super early, and they might be able to finish, and they'll have to run across another one, because like the real world, there's not just one bad guy. There's multiple bad guys, and there's multiple bad guys in cities. Like the last city they were in, the first city they were in was a super protected town. City Guard was on the ball. They actually had a great relationship with the Thieves Guild. The Thieves Guild was actually helping them, and they helped them get rid of the underground fight club because people were dying. So like we can't have that. Like if they're there fighting, have fun. Like that's a good release, and it's protected. There's clerics, so on and so forth. But this was an illegal underground fight club, which most of them are, and people started dying, and that's why they got shut down. And the players didn't have any interaction with that final fight scene. They know it happened, but they weren't there to help stop the fight. They just know the City Guard and the Thieves Guild worked together, and they got rid of it. It was a very organized town, fair pricing. Everybody kind of interacted with everybody else. And they left with only like one person pissed off him. It was a harbor master because he kind of got screwed out of a deal where he's making bank. You're going to run across that. You're going to run across the NPCs that are never going to like you because you got them screwed out of a good deal that they had going on, even though they're dicks. And I think that's honestly a fair way to do it because, like in realistic world, like if I screw over a Fortune 500 company, sorry, and the CEO knows it was me because he was doing shady stuff and he got in trouble, paid his fine, he's good. And then I go up to him, like, hey, listen, I got this great deal for you. And he's like, no, we're done. Say and that's on me. But that's hypothetical, real world stuff. That's how it should be in the game too, or at least in mine. And that's one of the things that I rambled really off topic right there. Jesus Christ, I am bad at this. But that brings it back to like the narrative point stories. Like there was something going on in town that they started interacting with in level 1, and they got in a fight and they killed someone. Well, it was them or them. They had to fight and kill them, or they were going to die. Because this has been going on for a while. And as they were going on with the other while, and they ran across one of their evil villain guys, the city guard took care of it. That's what they're for. Normally. And that's what they're going to run across in this new town. They're going to run across, events are going on as they're trying to figure this out. And I'm going to have some missions for them to do to get some information about their big bad evil guy. And if they do it right, they'll get some information. If they do it wrong, you're not getting paid. and you're getting paid with information and money. And if you're not going to do it, then I can't give you this. So sucks to be you. And city they're in now is another town that was like 5 or 6 days away mathematically. And so the city guard are still there, but they don't have the town as protected. There's some loopholes. There's some shady stuff. The Thieves Guild is very active in this one. And that's probably why the big bad evil guy ran to the city, because he can get away with more things unless he runs across the wrong Thieves Guild, because there's multiple Thieves Guild in this town instead of just one. They have territories, and they are in the one territory that doesn't work with the big bad evil guy, which works out good for them only because they're level 3. I could have made this so much harder, but I didn't. So that's what I've learned from Hero. With Matt's, it's definitely action economy. And he actually, instead of just one bad guy at the very end, he'll have, the bad guy and then some minions and then maybe some extra fodder at best. Just so you have to take out some other stuff while he's trying to do his thing, because he's trying to stop you and you're trying to stop him. And I did learn that from him a little bit more than Hero, because Hero does good with the action economy, but Matt's almost mastered it. And I love that fact that he has got that going on for him, and it's an amazing place. I'm not as good as Matt, nowhere, shape, or form. But I'm going to that direction for myself, because that's what I want to learn how to do. I want to be able to introduce a bunch of mooks to speed bump you, maybe do some damage, maybe possibly put you on the ground. And that's just, game wise. They don't want to die. They're there for a job. They're just not going to stand there and like, oh, I'm a bad guy, kill me. No, they have an objective. This character is an NPC, but he has his own reason why he's there. Could be because he's a cultist, could be because of gold, could be because he's tricked into doing it, could be any number of reasons. Just like real life. Like people sign up for the military because of love, family honor, paycheck, whatever the reason may be for them. And it may turn into other reasons. That's fine. And that's the same thing for the NPCs that they run across and kill. Start introducing like lockets, family lockets, and notes just because I can. It'll really mess with the druids and the non-murder hobo-ish people, which will add more levels of role play. Which, like, do you take this letter to this wife or this mother or this father? Is like, I killed your son because he's a dick, but here's a letter. That's going to be hilarious for me. And then, of course, with Kevin's playstyle, Kevin is aggressive would be a good way to say it. Not because he's mean about it. It's because you made a poor choice. Like, you made a poor tactical choice, a poor logistics choice, a poor any type of choice, and now there's repercussions for it. He takes it, from my perspective, to the extreme, which is enjoyable, but the catch I run across is when I make a character for any of his campaigns, mine are more aggro. Like, there's very little RP stats built into it. It's all aggro. Damage, 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 and then defense, and then RP. Where, like, the campaign I'm in, it's roleplay first, plus skills, and then aggro, and then defense. Like, I want them to have fun with the game. I want them to do more than just perception checks. I want them to do, history checks. I want them to do arcana checks. I want them to do the other checks. Like, there's more than the aggressive style right there, and that's what we're looking for right there. Is like, I want nature checks. I want deception checks. When's the last time you actually ran a deception check outside of a market stall or blacksmith or buying something? Why are we doing more deception checks on the random crossing guard that stopped you because this kid's like, nah, man, I gotta go. Deception check, blah blah blah. Give me a reason why. So, and that explains the justification on your dice roll. Acrobatics is always a good one. Like Hero and Matt, we're bringing that in a little bit more, which makes sense. That type of thing. And that's what I'm trying to do with my own campaigns. Singular. I didn't make the joke the other weekend that if I have too many people join, I'm going to have to make it second campaign on the same day because that's my only free day. I'll have one middle of the day and I'll have one at night Sunday, and that'll be my campaigns. um, that's my 3 bullet points right there that I was looking for right there. If you caught them, you know, the Din Djarin poem for Bo-Katan and how significant others have to step up their game because Din Djarin looked at Bo-Katan and says, "I got you back," and it said so many words that if you watch this and you're any part of a romantic, you heard those words and they said so much more. That's what I wanted to cover right there. And then, of course, you know, the different playstyles that I've run across as DMs with my friends. And, of course, you know, how the Piers Anthony series has actually influenced mine. So that's my rambling for session 3. I'm going to get off and I'm going to make the third part that I need for Sunday for their information gathering for the BBEG from the other Thieves Guild organization. If you like it, hit like. If you don't, hit dislike it, then send me a message and explain to me what I do to make you so angry at me. I'm so sorry. But seriously, thank you very much for spending time and have a great day.